that didn't make the news. So I'm going to try my hand at this right now. This energy is something else. Really, really high octane. So I probably should have stood outside with no shoes or taken some CBD oil first. Some sort of reversal started happening around 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday, August 30th. I believe that's the day it is today, Tuesday, August 30th. Some kind of reversal happened around 3 o'clock. Now, take this around 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time with a grain of salt, if you will. So something happened in, I'm going to say it happened in the etheric, because I think if something this big happened in the 3D, I would have heard about it or in some way, fashion, or form. So I feel something huge. I don't want to use overused words like timeline shift. This feels even bigger actually than anything like that. There's some kind of complete reversal thing that happened today around 3-ish. If you watched my last video, I had some very rather out of the ordinary, even for me, experiences for 2 days straight. Talking to my friend Mary, pulling tarot cards, constantly getting the devil. So the last video I did was about the devil energy and how the masculine putting things on hold was causing almost like a cloud storage, like within our computer. And you guys know I'm the least tech savvy person on the planet to explain. So I can only explain through what I'm seeing. In the last video, I talked about the divine masculine having a really strong manifestation power and putting things on a shelf for later or on a pedestal for later, and how that energy was collapsing down into their third dimension and causing their body heat and all kinds of things. If you haven't seen that, please see that. That video started with 2 sentences written down on paper, and I went for 55 minutes and 55 seconds on whatever information I was connecting to out there in the ethers. So something has reversed in the ethers. Now, how long that's going to take you to feel it or experience it, or how long that takes it to trickle into the 3D, I'm not sure. I have been getting messages from my own guidance system about something really large happening before the end of August, which is like 48 hours for us from now, if you're in the United States. Excuse me, I also started feeling dehydrated around the time I started to connect to whatever was going on out there in the ethers today. So please check out the last video if you have not done so, because this is going to be a continuation. After I was done making that video, I'm all choked up. After I made that video and watched it twice, there was a bunch of information that came through on the divine feminine flip side of what I talked about. Now, the whole video was about the divine masculine energy and why it was connected to the restriction of the devil energy. But after watching my own video twice on the masculine energy, what happened was I saw that the feminine was not only connected to this devil energy through her connection to her own masculine counterpart, she was also connected to this in another way. As I mentioned in the previous video, whatever the masculine is going through is bleeding through to the feminine and vice versa. So after watching my own video twice about the effects that the masculine ones have by saving things in a cloud for later, in the metaphysical cloud or personal storage closet, however you want to look at that, and it was crumbling his 3D situation and causing him to feel heat. Again, that's heat, restriction, fear, hence the devil energy, devil card. What I realized after watching my own video twice was that the devil energy is also affecting the feminine side, but a completely polar opposite way. Now hear me out on this one. Because the divine feminine has been the teacher or the way shower for the last couple years, very strongly for sure, the feminine has been having premonitions, clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyance, all these things about the arrival of the masculine. And when I say the arrival of the masculine, I don't just mean the arrival of the divine masculine in the divine feminine's life. I also mean on a macrocosmic level on the planet, the energy switching over to the divine feminine, where you're talking unity, expanded consciousness for everyone. The way in which the female divine feminine is processing this devil energy is because she has been clairaudient and clairsentient and clairvoyant for so long that it's bleeding through the shift that is happening within the divine masculine. So her devil part is not fear or restriction. It is actually liberation and obsession, because she can feel the whole thing that I described in my last video. The divine feminine can now feel and is very much connected to that. So her devil energy is about liberation, and it is about obsession, because these things have been bleeding through for so long about the masculine changes within the partnership and the masculine changes within the world, that this whole maybe anxiousness of I've been hearing it, seeing it, feeling it for so long, macrocosmically and microcosmically. Does this mean it's happening right now? Is the reversal right now? Is it 3 days from now? Is it 3 months from now? I always go through this. I always struggle with this, but I always share it with you when I get it. Something that's really, really interesting that I've noticed, I have not had a divine masculine counterpart in my life for most of my life. And so because of my clairaudience and clairsentience and all these other heightened perceptions and awarenesses, and because my antenna is not only up, but a really far reaching, I have a very far reaching field. So for, I would say, childhood, started around probably 12 years old, I started having visions of things that are going on now, happening. And it's always, always, always since I was a child and not had, okay, so we balance within ourselves, but also our counterpart balances. When you meet your counterpart, you may call them and tell them something that happened today on a macrocosmic level in the world, and they may turn around and look at you in half a split second, say, do you realize that happened to you today at the bank? This macrocosmic thing showed up to you in a very macrocosmic way. So the divine masculine feminine connection will make it so the macro and micro come through. It's almost simultaneous right now. It's maybe 30 seconds to a couple minutes off, depending on where you are. God, I hope this is making sense. I've been a nonstop channel since 3 o'clock, and I knew this was going to come out somewhat jumbled, and I was going to have to do the best I could with what I have. Something has flipped. And since I was 12 years old, I have always seen the macro, and I focus and meditate and write and journal and all these things. So I look at the macro a lot. But when it comes to visions or solar stuff or earth changes or political things, I've always had a huge broad spectrum macrocosmic male all-encompassing energy when it comes to that. When it comes to world events, I've been very macrocosmic. It's not, focus is the wrong word, because it happens automatically for me. I'm not trying to do it. When I try to do it, when I try to focus, that is the microcosmic level. That is just me without anything outside of me. However, around 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time today, we had a huge flip in the weather. Within, I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 minutes flip of the weather. I mean, it went from dark and humid and that kind of weather to sunny, zero humidity, and skies were so blue it looked like Arizona or Colorado or something. So there was a big macro flipped. Now, this flip itself is amazing. There's a very, it's the flipping of the physicality and expanded consciousness of the devil energy, but not as I was just seeing it on the divine masculine in the last tarot reading I did, but on the macrocosmic level is where I saw it first. So this shift, you guys, it is astronomical. Again, right now, when I experience something, I always experience it in the ether or in the sun or out there. What's the word? Non-local. I experience it as it happens, non-local. When it gets here, I'll experience it again, and then that gives me more information or the other half of the piece of that puzzle. But something huge, huge, huge flipped today on the macrocosmic level. The really interesting part about this to me was, instead of noticing on the macro that it was a flip on the macro, right? A reversal of the devil energy, a spotlight on justice. What I noticed first was the past video that I did and how the divine feminine is processing the devil energy, not only bleeding through from the masculine through telepathy or a psychic connection, but also as her own. I knew this was going to happen. It was just a matter of time, kind of an anxious way. So today, for the very first time in my life, since I've been seeing non-local, I experienced on the microcosmic or personal level before I realized that it was an actual macrocosmic flip. And that's huge for two reasons. One, first of all, I noticed the flip. So what is this flip about? This flip is about the divine masculine of this entire planet, not just your divine masculine. We're here to assist everybody. So divine masculine within law, within government, within every spectrum across the board here in 3D reality, there's been a massive, massive shift in the devil energy, processing the devil energy for one. Now, when you look at that outside of your person, right, your life or your partnership with someone else, and look at that on a macrocosmic level, you're talking about white hats and the dark hats, for example. So there is some sort of, I really struggle when I see this and feel this to get an accurate word, so bear with me. Upper hand is not quite strong enough for what I feel, but let's just say for now, the white hats have the upper hand in the operation. So the emperor energy of the white hats on the macrocosmic level is there's some sort of plan they've had for, I want to say, a couple of decades, which is coming from, everything comes from the ethers or the inner dimensions before it shows up in physicality. we have to give it enough weight, enough measure, enough strength, right? So it's just like in the last reading where that devil energy of the masculine, putting it on a pedestal or putting it on a shelf or storing it as personal etheric cloud for later is crashing down. This etheric energy of multidimensional cosmic space time radiant assistance that we're getting, some kind of jump has occurred within that, and whatever plan has been on the books or in the ethers or in the akashic or wherever that's being stored is now been put into play in the ethers. So almost always within the past year, when I feel the ethers, we're talking Earth time, 48 hours. So I would expect to hear something in 48 hours, which I don't pay attention, so someone will probably alert me to that. But the Emperor, the divine masculine, the plan that has been made by the divine masculine before the divine masculine energy was enough to knock down that domino at this energetic doorway or pathway or gateway for this energy to hit the domino. The domino was knocked over in the ethers around 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So sometime 2 days, next week, I expect something. And it has to do specifically with judgment and awakening on this planet. So part of it perhaps is that there are enough people that have made a judgment, but in order to make a judgment on anything, you would have to first know the circumstances, right? Like, Tina, your choice is this or this. You have a choice, make a judgment, which way are you going, which thing do you want, which person do you want to date, whatever it is. You need both sides of the equation or all of the equation to make a choice, to make a judgment. So I'm very much hearing and seeing that this doorway, this gateway is open. The domino, I keep seeing someone like flick one domino with the finger. So it started in the ethers. And it's about making a judgment. In order to make a judgment, you need to have the facts to make a judgment. So the facts are laid out on the table for all to see. And whoever is a party to the top echelon of making the decision when the hatchet comes down on a certain plan, possibly stored in the etheric or akashic, that is coming down into the 3D, out of the cloud, into 3D manifestation. I hope I'm not losing you. This is so incredibly strong. I can barely keep my eyes open. In fact, I had several phone calls, and if anyone who tried to call me is watching this video, I'm like, I'm sorry, I absolutely have to get this out. I was at Lynn's house. She started talking to me. I started pulling all of this in. And as I was talking to her and she was talking back to me like people do in a normal conversation, I kept losing track of this thread that wanted to come through so much. So there's a divine plan, the divine masculine, who has made this decision that the plan that is already stored in the ether or akashic, the domino is knocked over, the gateway is open. We're standing at the threshold of the doorway of this reversal of dark planetary energy. The plug has been pulled out of the wall. It's like the plug of something was running through the ley lines, the man-made grid, some sort of electrical current. You will do as I say, you will do, obey, whatever was running through the grid. That has been unplugged. Again, take me with a grain of salt. You all know my timing that have been following me for a while. Something got unplugged in the ethers. The domino got pushed over around 3 o'clock. I keep repeating myself. Something is falling, you guys. The judgment, again, you have to know all sides of anything to make a judgment. So all sides are on the table: the dark hat, the white hats, the gray, the in-between matter. This is a binary situation where both sides are kind of being taken into effect, and the shade of gray that is between the white hats and the dark hats has been measured, and a decision has been made to flick the domino and pull the plug on whatever is running through the 3D grid system. It's falling. That electrical current is no longer running in the ethers. So if it is still running here today, August 30th, then it stops running within 48 hours. But I really, really feel like this is now. This is falling. This is going into the absolute depths of every human soul and the depths of expanded consciousness. The one or two things that were keeping us from hitting a certain trajectory was the decision by the white hats to put this plan into action, to make the decision to hit the green light. So I'm seeing that's been given. I'm seeing the electrical component that is meant to stop your expanded consciousness from making the judgment. And I don't mean white hats, black hats. I mean any judgment in your life at all. That has been taken away. So when it first got taken away, I felt extremely stimulated, like I had an entire pot of coffee, and I'm down to like 1 cup of coffee a day. So a decision has been made, a choice has been made, a direction has been taken. Whatever was the restriction has fallen into the depths of the very soul of this planet. So whatever comes out of you, don't try to stop yourself from celebrating or expressing it. Now, what this unplug of, and I hope I didn't lose you. I think you're familiar with this where you are at the moment. But there's some sort of electrical component being ran through the man-made grid for thousands of years that slows down the body function, slows down the cognition, slows down the third eye, slows down the expanded consciousness, slows down the physical body. Some people can actually hear that electrical hum from it. But again, it's kind of like you can think of it as mentally, physically, and spiritually sedating. It has been unplugged. This is huge. So when it first felt unplugged, I knew I had to make a video, but I also knew that I might want to take CBD oil or something first, because I'm really, when this got unplugged, you think about not having physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual restraint anymore. It's like the glass ceiling has been removed. My vibration went up so far, and I was channeling not an entity or being or person, but an energy, a non-local energy channel, that there has been a massive reversal. Now, when I came home and asked what that massive reversal was, that massive reversal is the justice, the balance to what's been going on in the 3D aspect between the white hats and the dark hats duking it out. It's also going to be for you on a microcosmic level. Remember, for the very first time in my life today, about 3 o'clock, I saw the macrocosmic level first. Now, one thing that means, that I'm seeing the macro first, means that such a, probably today, my male counterpart had a big shift in energy himself, and feels very fiery and very alive and very full of direction, and knows what he wants to do and what he wants to say and where he wants to go and how he wants to live his life on the macro. Again, I saw the macro first. That's not going to mean a lot to you, but it's mind-blowing. Remember, I've been seeing the macro first since I was 12. I am now 51. I forgot how old I was. So I saw the masculines. I felt the masculine on the micro flip today. So again, what that means for my divine masculine, but also what that means is across the board. It wasn't just my divine masculine. It was enough divine masculines to flip the scale, to tap that first domino, to open that gateway or that doorway into the point where I'll go back to that last video again. The masculine was storing his pipe dream or his forever fantasy or whatever for later. And it is started coming into his physical reality 2 days ago. But now that is happening today on the macrocosmic. So many divine masculines have shifted into their power, into their direction, into their I am the emperor. And the emperor is somebody who makes a plan that makes them happy, takes charge, and does it. So macro and micro today, because so many of you beautiful divine masculines pulled into that power of taking action. That you actually caused it to flip on the macro level. So that's what I wanted you to know. Specifically, the flip, the inversion of 3D reality as you know it, again, starts in the ethers first. But that flip was justice is in the spotlight. The spotlight is going to be shown on justice. So that means, well, you can guess what that means. On a microcosmic level, anything within our lives that was unjust between us and ourselves or us and other people is going to be made just. On the macrocosmic level, again, white hats, black hats, the V, the P rings, so all the things I can't say on YouTube without being removed. Expect massive, massive news on those fronts within 48 hours to the next week, I would say. I was shown that this divine earthly balance has happened in the ethers today, will continue to happen here for the next, something massive is shifting before the end of this, within the next 2 days, before the end of this month, and again before the end of the year. The spotlight is on justice. So that's personal justice and worldly justice also. Also as well, when you're talking about personal justice, when you're talking about personal victory, that is seen in the tarot as somebody wearing like the olive branch or the laurel wreath on their head, riding on a horse. And on that horse, they have a staff, which represents their new passionate direction. And at the top of that staff is a matching olive branch crown or laurel crown. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but what he's wearing, he's carrying on his new passionate direction towards the life that he's going to. And he's carrying that matching crown to deliver the victory to the divine feminine. You guys, this is both coming to me on a microcosmic level and coming to the world stage simultaneously. The light will be shown on justice. Now, this is going to make a lot of people kind of flip in the third dimensional perspective. And how I'm seeing this is people are going to be seeing some very unusual things, and they're kind of going to be maybe connecting to a church or a mosque, even if that is something that hasn't resonated with them for a while. They may be sitting in a mosque, not because of organized religion or any kind of indoctrinated anything, but just because they're aware of that energetic ley line. I am seeing people within the next 48 hours and within this week, as these things come out, going to churches, going to mosques, going to temples, and recognizing their own spiritual authority. And that is what you and I have been working on for a really long time. But these things are going to be challenging and upsetting. It's going to drive people into the mosque, into the temple, into the church, so that they can get into this balanced energy of knowing that everything's going to be okay. They're running to a mosque or a church or a temple to give themselves the power back, to tell themselves that everything is going to be okay. It's not what it seems in the outward world. It's beautiful. I feel peaceful. I feel harmonious inside, and that's all that matters. But you will see, if you know people returning to churches and mosques, again, the spotlight on justice, the spotlight, and it's not just the spotlight on justice, because that would say, okay, we're going to now see everything that's corrupt. Well, we've had nothing but 2 years of seeing everything that's corrupt, right? So this is more than that. This is the spotlight on the victory to the side of justice and balance for this planet. And remember, as I see, feel, and hear it so loudly in the ethers today, I think next 2 days, maybe if you're not feeling it right now, with all of this going on, with the judgment, with the new plan going into place, with the spotlight being on the divine justice, divine balance in your personal life and in the worldly affairs in general, make sure that you are staying in a place of a colorful, resonant harmony, meaning when you feel anger towards a situation or a person, express that. When you feel love or desire or passion towards a person, express that. When you feel empathy, express that. Whatever it is that you're feeling, this is I can't put it into words any better than this right now. And I love to attempt to verbalize initially right when it comes in what I'm feeling it, because there's so many people right there with me feeling it at the same time. And we're all processing it. So Spirit is just saying, express the different colors, the different moods. You might be angry 1 second when you see a news story. You might be in love the next second. You might want justice the next second. You might want to go to a temple and pray. Know that it's not anything that's happening that's a dynamic within you that you need to actually worry about. It's the total flip of energy. So it's going to run you through emotions. So express yourself. And last but not least, what I feel in the ethers more than anything else is the biggest party I have ever seen, felt, or heard in my life. Party horns, pots and pans, bells, almost like different bells or gongs or worldly instruments from all over. Etherically, there's a group of people planet-wide of every nation who are feeling this, that are banging on something right now. Or even if they don't have an instrument, it could be resonating up and down the chamber or the center of your body, which is what's happening to me. I don't have anything to bang on. But there is a massive, massive party, you guys. It's celebration time. And I know we've been hearing a lot of really fantastical things that are supposed to happen or going to happen. This is an energy shift I can guarantee you happened. Do I know exactly what's coming with it? No. But I do know the spotlight itself is on divine justice. I do know that this plan has been put into place. The facts have been laid on a table. The judgment has been made. There is a massive, massive falling. So express your true feelings, celebrate yourself, who you feel, how you feel, what you're hearing, what you're seeing. This is absolutely beautiful. I'm sorry that I could not express it in a better way. I knew I was so hyped up when I got home. I didn't think I was going to be able to do this without talking like a New York cab driver, you know? So at least I guess I didn't do that. So take it easy. I've had like 10 glasses of water. I'm so dehydrated I can actually barely speak. This energy is strong. There are going to be people, as I said, filing into churches and mass and temples. And you may not want to go to a church or mass or a temple. I don't feel drawn to do that. But you may feel the draw to stop whatever you're doing and drop yourself or fall yourself into meditation, because so many people are going to be doing it at once that we may feel pulled to join in that energy, because those other people are doing it. Yes. There's also something coming through about computer technology. So this could be a couple things. This could be maybe a flat line in some of the platforms. This could also be you receiving some sort of very important message from someone that means a lot to you or is very close to you. And I'm not saying it's one or the other. It could absolutely be both. I'm seeing like a static glitching. Is that tonight or 2 days from now? Now, who knows? But I see a very strong message coming in to people. And I see short circuiting of some social media. So both. So if you do get an important message from someone, maybe you haven't spoken to them for a while, you may not delay like you want to delay. Like maybe something happened and you don't want to answer right away. But if you feel in your heart to answer right away, because there's some kind of technical glitch. And yeah, there's a technical glitch. There's a real feeling here of falling, chasing messages, technical glitches, spotlight on justice, and having the facts laid out to make the decision to have the awakening. Also, in this flip or in this inversion, a huge group of people were catalyzed, switch went on, an awakening happened, which means when that happens to a large group of people at once, it shifts the energy of the entire collective. So we also had an entire collective shift as well. Sorry, you guys, that as soon as I look down to read the comments, every single time they're gone. I'm so sorry. I do apologize. I also know that it's kicked some of you out, and I will, my computer wasn't doing it, but my computer was, you all know what my computer was doing. I talk about it too much. So anyway, I'm back to using my phone, and I apologize. My phone always takes me back to private, and it kicks people out of the situation. There is also a message about X. It could be X as in hugs. It could be X as in ex-girlfriend, ex-father-in-law. It could be X as in XO as computer, as in binary code. But it's talking about a lost aspect of yourself, of your personal dynamic, of your relationship with family, and a missing aspect that your soul wants to reconnect with. Okay, this is the most jumbled video I've ever made in my history of making videos. I love you all very much. I hope that you can make some sense out of this assimilation, which is my brain heart decode. I am the decoder. 443030. All right. I love you. I'll talk to you later. Bye.